Welcome back to Copper Star Precision, the channel dedicated to getting you more points at your competitive shooting matches. Today we're going over the February course of fire for the NRL22, and the first stage in the booklet is called Cupid's Arrow. Here is the course description. On the start signal, the shooter will take a position inside the center of the tire and engage the near targets with one shot each, left target then right target. Next, engage the far center targets with 2 shots large, 2 shots small. The shooter will then transition to the top of the tire and repeat the sequence. A magazine change must be conducted at some point. All targets are hit or miss, move on. There's a restriction of no bipods on this stage. As usual, I'll put the target says up here. The smallest target on this stage is definitely going to be that 1.5 inch at 85 yards, so we're going to have to take our time there. And of course, we're also going to have to think about where to incorporate a mag change. So I have the tire set up here, and the diagram has some cinder blocks next to it with some ropes for support. I don't think that's really necessary. Tires are the wild card in any NRL22 match because there's no set dimensions of tire. It can be any light truck tire basically. So you're gonna have to kind of figure out what works for you during the match. Here I have some pretty large tires. Your tires might be smaller or different sizes, different thicknesses, whatever. So here's kind of, I have the rifle set up here kind of about where I want to be. So I'm using a 2-bag setup. Here I'm using the OG Sticky Game Changer from Armageddon Gear and one of their fat bags for rear support. More points of contact is always better, gets you a more stable shooting position. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sequence of 6 shots. So left, right, double tap the large in the center, double tap the small in the center, and do my mag change while I'm in this position, just so I'm not fumbling with the rifle up here. Because I think when you're on the ground like this, 2 points of contact, you're going to be much more stable than when you're up top trying to balance the rifle on top of the tires. So just for YouTube, this is an empty chamber flag. There's nothing in the rifle is clear. These magazines are completely empty. I'll put one up here. This is a short action precision magazine holder. It's kind of a convenient spot for me to grab a magazine, and I'll put one in here to simulate the mag change. Again, these magazines are empty. And essentially what we're gonna do on the start signal is trying to get into this position. It's always good to think about like where your rifle wants to end up visually before you start the stage. So remember, it's going to be all gear in hand. So the timer will go off beep. I'll just drop this. I'm going to use the folding part of this to go inside the front of the tire. Put the fore end of the rifle here. And I want to make sure that this is usually, you want to get up to the balance point of the rifle. But here, notice how my grip is a little bit hindered. So I'm actually going to bring this back a little bit. It's also giving me access to the mag well for the mag change. And because there's 2 points of contact, I'm not really worried about balance because I'm going to be able to support the rear of the rifle. That's why 2 points of contact, more points of contact is always better. So we're going to get into a prone position here. So we're down, we're looking for our targets. Only when we see the targets do we close the bolt and engage. So we're going to hit left and then right. And then center large, boom, engage again. Now, because they're on double hangers, when you impact those targets, they might be spinning. So you might have to wait for them to settle down before engaging again. So, go small, bolt back. Here's where I'll do magazine change, pretty quick and efficient, because I'm already in that position. Now we'll transition to the top. And take this bag, this time I'm going to turn it sideways. Now I'm going to find the balance point of the rifle, which is close to the mag well. And then from here, it depends on the height of the tires. So I'm either going to be doing Jean-Claude Van Damme splits like this, or if they're shorter, I could take a kneeling position, picking up this bag, using it as a second point of contact, stabilizing the rifle by grabbing the rifle and the bag. Stable like this, find the target, engage, find the next target, engage, etc. Now, that's kind of what I think is the strategy to go by. You may find something different. I haven't talked really about dialing and parallax adjustment. Because the targets are at 65 yards and 85 yards, Parallax around 75 is going to have both things in focus. Probably expect a magnification around the 12 to 16, maybe even 20 range. Remember, the less magnification you have on your rifle, the greater depth of field you have, so parallax becomes less of an issue to have the targets in focus. For me, I can dial the distances into my Kestrel right over here and find that for the first target at 65 yards, my dope is about 0.5, and for the far targets, it's about 1.4. And because those far targets are smaller, relatively speaking, and harder to hit, I probably want to dial for 1.4. And given the target sizes that I showed earlier, because the difference is basically 0.9 mils for me and my dope, it's going to be different for you. But because it's 0.9, I can hold under 1 mil, kind of towards the top of the target, and I'll be fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dial for the far targets, which are the harder ones to hit, so I can be center on the crosshairs. And then I'm going to hold under for the 2 near targets, which are relatively easy to hit size-wise. So that's how I plan to tackle this stage. I hope these tips and tricks helped you. If they did, leave a comment, like, subscribe to these videos for more. I'll be going over the entire course of fire here shortly, so stay tuned. Next video coming out very soon, and until I see you next time, score more points.